I'm Nicoll. I own a company called I Fight Words and No Picture, and I made a game called Fist of Awesome. It's highly overrated, but you should buy it anyway. I've been making games since I was 14, and I'm 34, so I've been technically making games for 20 years now. 20 years, sweet Jesus. I should be more successful than I am right now. Oh, this is actually taking longer than I thought it would. I went to GDC this year. GDC is massive, over 24,000 attendees this year. And this was my third time attending, but my first time as my own company. The times I went before, someone else paid for me to have the most expensive pass available. But this year I got the Indie Game Summit Pass, which is the second cheapest because it's all I could afford from Fist of Awesome sales. I'm actually getting less successful as time goes on. The first person I met at the actual conference venue was Mike Bithell. When I first met Mike, I just finished my first indie game, Hardlines, and he was working on this little game in his spare time called Thomas Was Alone. It's now a recurring theme that Mike will be the first person I see when I attend a conference. I can't prove this, but I suspect he follows me around so he can rub his endless success and popularity in my face. The first talk I saw was about Little Inferno, a million-selling fireplace simulator. Sometimes I enjoy hearing the story behind the game more than playing them, and Little Inferno was one of those, not least because I finally got to see the end portion of the game and understand what it was all about. What impressed me most was the way the team willfully ignored commercial concerns during development and after a few wrong turns made the game they actually wanted to. I also saw a talk by Rami Ismail about how Vlambeer make regular Twitch live stream performances of themselves performing, developing Nuclear Throne. Rami is a prince and my game dev hero / crush. His hair probably smells of unicorns. He gives good talk and makes some fine points, although watching his masterful ability to speak to a crowd made me question if people want to see me stare at a computer screen for hours on end. I got very drunk. Oh no, that's a different speech. Okay, after some talks about programming physics and stuff, I discovered I don't really enjoy talks which are very technical. I'm not sure if it's because I'm stupid or have a very small attention span. But maybe it's because I just want to empathize with the content of the speech and I struggle with things like that. I got very drunk. I managed a blag entry to the Adult Swim party and I made full use of the free bar. My first meeting was unfortunately the day afterwards, and I spent most of it either coming off as strangely aloof or being strangely fascinated by items in the distance. I'm not sure which. I spent a lot of time drinking water and eating bananas. As I sobered up from my adolescent stupor, the announcements were made of the winners of the IGF this year. Hungover and disappointed at my complete lack of success, I didn't watch the ceremony or even read up on the winners till days later. I was hungover, but why did they get all the success? What did they have that I didn't? Why are they on stage accepting awards? What did Fist of Awesome do to not be acknowledged? I entered the IGF this year, and one single person, downloaded it on iOS and played it. Does that say something about what I've created in itself, that only one single person was willing to even play it? Did I create something that ugly and generic to be so worthless only one person could be bothered installing it and playing it on their phone? I spiraled in my grumpiness. What's the point of making games if it's not acknowledged on stage in a glitzy ceremony? Why did I put all those hours drawing bears, jiggly bits and thinking of endless puns? Why did I spend days playing Final Fight, Streets of Rage and Double Dragon, trying to instill what I loved about those games just to cover them in fur and checkered shirts and link it all together with a ridiculously convoluted plot about time travel? And then I saw Alexander Bruce's talk about the making of Antichamber, and it made me cry. His description of the journey from the conception to creation of his game to one of the most successful games in the history of the IGF was one of the most arduous things I've ever heard. It was damn hard. It took him 7 years. He was successful, but the toll it took on him was very clear to see. I've made 2 proper indie games now, and although it was hard, I don't remember it breaking me to the point it broke Alexander. For me, it was about expressing myself in a way that was both fun to create and fun for people to experience. I made myself cry during development of Fist of Awesome, but that was because I was crying through tears of laughter as I drew the outline of a neon bear's buttocks. I realised and remembered that for me, the original objective was to have fun. Fist of Awesome was my excuse to write bad puns, explore depravity of bear-themed strip clubs, and make myself and other people laugh. I've had emails from people all over the world saying my game made them laugh more than any other, and other games include Monkey Island. Thinking about it, I've loved making games since my teens, and the only reason I did it is because I enjoyed it. One of my first games, Fat Alley 2, was described by an Amiga magazine called Amiga Future as the worst Amiga game that Daylight had touched. They said it let you fully experience the nausea and horror of the programming skills of Nicoll. But I had a blast making that game. It was mine, it was broken, it was ugly, it was impossible to complete the first level, but I loved it. Aiming to create something that's worthy to other people doesn't seem like a healthy way to approach development. When you try too hard to do something, it's all too easy to end up doing the exact opposite of the thing you're trying to achieve. Being arty abuse doesn't come naturally to me, and if I tried to make an art game to appeal to the judges of the IGF, I'm pretty sure I'd make something that doesn't appeal to anyone, least of all me. My enthusiasm for making games has increased the older I've got. And seeing what other people have achieved does push me to want to create more and see how much further I can push myself creatively. There's an element of competitiveness there, and I can't deny that. But mostly I want to be inspired by other people and in turn create work that can inspire more people, like a perpetual wheel of gaming awesome. Paying to attend a small subsection of GDC makes for a very different experience than getting an all-access pass for free. Sure, I didn't extend as many talks as I wanted to, but I meant I spent more time walking around the areas of the expo and the GDC play, actually playing games. I spent more time meeting up with friends, and that resulted in some serendipitous meetings with people who could really help me in the future. On one of my wanders around the expo, I went to see the Game Maker guys who I'd happened to know from previous life. They just announced the PlayStation 4 version of their game, and Rami Ismail, the indie prince himself, was there demoing Nuclear Throne. He recognized me and shook my hand, and I got to spend some time chatting with him and staring at his mystical hair. Most of all, what I got from GDC this year was a reaffirmation that I love and still love making games. I can't afford a full pass, I'm not part of the IGF, my work isn't written about on Polygon, my tweets don't get turned into news stories, but everything is awesome. I'm part of a thriving, welcoming community, and I'm honoured to count some of these people in this very room as friends of mine. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, please do. And if you have any similar crisis of confidence, please drop me a mail. I'll tell you everything is okay, and it will be. Thanks.